Namaste, loved ones. It's been a minute. I haven't posted in a minute. I wanted to talk a little bit about DNA, and I want to talk about a little bit about those of you who say, I don't like ATRs. I don't resonate with Voodoo. I don't resonate with I don't resonate with any ATR like the Orishas. I don't like none of them. You know, I resonate with Krishna. I resonate with Ganesh. I resonate with what's her name, Kali. You know, you resonate with those, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But what you're gonna find is they're African based too. So you're still dealing with the African form of spirit, so called of African spirituality or indigenous spiritual practice. Okay, because remember, if you follow my videos, you'll see when I talked about the Sibyls, the first African prophetess, Mama Wata. You'll find out that these women went all over the world. These oracles and Delphi's and they were all over the world, and these were black women that were prophesying and doing oracles and setting up spiritual practices all over the world, from India to Asia to Americas. These women were establishing spiritual practices they call pagan, so quote unquote pagan today. That's where you see Wicca being born from. Wicca is a nature goddess, nature based spiritual practice that originated from the ancient mothers. They venerate the Black Diana, and Diana goes back even further. If you go trace back her history, it's gonna trace you back right back to the first goddess. The first god of humanity was a woman, Mama Wata. And all these other gods spun from her, as well as the Orisha, as you'll see that in Yamaya. Oshun is a face of Mama Wata. Okay? So is, what's her name? Oya. Oya is another face of Mama Wata. But I suggest that you do your research in this, and you'll find that out. You'll find that these indigenous women were all over the world setting up civilizations and spiritual practices. They're responsible for Buddhism, Hinduism, what you see, Kemet. These women, they put that down. Okay, they the ones started this. This is a part of history that you're not going to hear about. You're not going to hear this about history. But that's perfectly fine. You're not perfectly fine. You're not being a sellout or anything like that. If you resonate with Cali, if you resonate with Shiva, I suggest you get this book. You're not, you know, they're not sellout because they're just going. You're feeling that most ancient form of spiritual practice that's awakening in your DNA, and you're just resonating with it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. But I suggest you get this book, and the other book she writes is what's this called? African Prophetess, African Goddess Unveiled, Volume 1, by, what's her name? Vivian Hunter Andrew. Okay? I know that's on the opposite side. I'm so sorry that this camera is like this, but yeah. Um, but if you go look at my other video, you'll see I did a book review on this book, and I give you all the details. I think it's a link or something on that video that'll tell you, give you everything, all the information about this book. But yeah, so if you resonate with different religions other than the ATR, that's fine. It's perfectly normal. You still rocking. You still rocking with your ancestors. You still rocking because they developed all of them. So there's no wrong one there. The most ancient form. I suggest you, if you resonate with that, go deeper and find the most ancient forms of it, so you can get into the most authentic spiritual practice of it. Because the later you go back to it, the more knowledge, spiritual knowledge, you're gonna open yourself up to. You're gonna learn more spiritual knowledge about the spiritual practice. So I tell you to go look more into the culture, dig deep, and see some of this spiritual practice, and you might lead you down a very healing road. Might lead you to be a stronger healer. So explore that. The next subject I wanted to talk about is DNA. And I have not talked about that. A lot of us, we're awakened and we want to know who our ancestors were, and want to We want to know what spiritual, we let that dictate what spiritual practice that we choose. And I don't believe it should be that way. I don't believe that your DNA should dictate your spiritual practice. You should go by your intuition and what you resonate with. Because what you find in DNA testing is that you're going to have a mixture of blood. And if you're, especially for African American, this is a very complicated, complex situation. This is going to be a very, my video might be messing up, so please excuse me. I'm going to continue though. This is going to be a very messed up, complex situation for you, because you'll find that the African American, you're going to have a lot of mixed blood. And what makes this complicated is the history of the pre-Columbian civilization, because this shows that indigenous people were already here in the Americas. We were the so-called Indians, and you have the so-called Native Americans. But we, the Indians, which Indi means black, we are the most ancient people here in the Americas. So that shows you that our ancestors' mothers were already here. Just following the history of Queen Califia, that explores a lot about the indigenous black people that were already here. Now they mixed us around in a little bit, and the slavery story was in reverse. Many of us was enslaved in our own lands. And the story of pre-Columbian civilization is very suspicious, because they claim that they don't know where these people went, even the Native Americans. But really, what really draws more suspicion, especially in my state, is they buried the slaves and the Native Americans in the same area. And they raised suspicion to me, because if they were really slaves, why would you bury them with the Native Americans? So they had to be native, the true Indians. They had to be Indians. And Indians, that's not interchangeable at all. Native American means that they don't have to be from here to be native. Okay? They can be here for a long time and be born here and be native from this land. But in indigenous Indian, that means that you were from here. That's where you were here from. You've been here. Okay, so we were ancient people here, but I encourage you to do your research on this subject, because that's what complicates it. And then they're trying to tie you down with this continent, and Africa is just the name of a person who conquered the continent. That's not the name of the place, really. We're letting somebody else tell us who we are with this DNA, and they got it all wrong. And I don't think that DNA is a correct assessment, because we all come from the first mother. Okay? We come from the first mother. I get a prime example from this is when this lady on social media, she had to have 2 DNA tests done, because one of her tests came back and she wasn't even African descent, and she knew it was incorrect. See, that test is not designed to give you accurate information about your genetics. It's not designed to do that. It can tell you where you from, where your genes could probably come from, but it's not telling you where you originated from. And us as indigenous African Aboriginal people, we have mixed genetics because of marrying onto different tribes. And what these people have done is, tried to make these tribes a nationality and trying to say, hey, you're this. And when the matriarch system was much more complicated than that. Okay, if you're really trying to pin down who you are and trying to, from a spiritual aspect, but they're doing it all wrong. They're doing it all wrong, because we've already discovered through research and through their archaeological find that they always keep coming up with the first human as being a woman. That's what that story of Jesus is about. We already know that woman is responsible for the first man. Woman didn't come from man. Man came from woman. And that is a scientific genetical fact. Okay, so how much of this is tying into this genetic testing? And then you have so many grandparents and grandparents and grandparents thousands of grandparents that you're looking at with this genetic testing. How far are they going back? That's why I say this stuff is it's not really accurate. You know, it's not really accurate. You can get it if you want to. Uh, I just, you know, it's in my personal opinion, it is not accurate. It's not going to tell you who you are. And please don't let it dictate your spiritual journey. You have some people that get the DNA test and they say, oh, since I'm from Nigeria, I'm going to go into this religion, you know. And then come to find out they don't resonate with the religion at all. They're very, you know, disgruntled in the, you know, religion. So, you know, that's why I say be very careful. Be led by your intuition. If you get the DNA test, fine. Do research on that culture and those people, and you'll might be surprised. Maybe the research on those people led you on your spiritual journey on a deeper level after you have done the research on the ancient culture of those people. So you might be surprised. I was surprised. I'm always surprised on my journey how everything is closely linked. And that's another reason why I wanted to put this video out there for, I hear that all the time. Somebody's like, I really don't like no ATR and I like Cali. And somebody, some Afrocentric will come out and be like, oh, you just trying to be somebody else. And black people always trying to be somebody else. And, you know, and if they had did the proper research, that person is perfectly valid at resonating with Cali. Cali itself means black. You know, the ancient people of that culture were dark-skinned people. You know, maybe that brother or sister's tapping into something that's more ancient in their blood. And DNA is not going to always tell you that, you know. And our ancestral mothers developed, you know, these spiritual practices all over the world. You can get the book, like another book that I wrote is Matriarch to Patriarch, The Black Woman God. I discussed that in my book. It's a 100-page book, and I tell you about the ancestral mothers in Asia, in India, in the Americas, in Europe, the Jewish patriarchs, the Egypt patriarchs. I tell you about the power struggle and how we came about in this patriarch government and society, and ways that get us back to our natural habitat. Okay, so yeah, so don't let DNA, you know, fool you. I don't believe in it, and it's just my personal assessment. I feel like you're playing with my mind because I'm looking at all this archaeological and scientific evidence of it being the first woman here, a dark-skinned woman. And then you're telling me that I come from here. Wouldn't everybody have a genetic gene, an African genetic gene somewhere down the pool line, since they came from the Garden of Eden that's located in so-called unquote Africa? You know, so yeah, I'm gonna have some of them genetics there. And yeah, we believe in marrying our culture. We believed in marrying other tribes. So yeah, I'm gonna have a mixture of DNA. But there also, too, the pre-Columbian civilization that was already here that were enslaved as well. So DNA tests from an African American perspective is not going to be good. You know, especially in some of the places where there were already dark-skinned people already there. If you're on a continent where it was already dark-skinned people already there, chances are a DNA test is not going to be accurate for you. Not you know, not as accurate as you would like it to be. Maybe to a certain degree. But, you know, hey, whatever floats your boat. If you want to do that, you know, explore it, do the research on it, let it enhance your spiritual journey. Okay? Like our video, share our video. And thank you so much for watching. Light and love. May the ancestors be with you.